Great day, everyone. I'm your host, Paul Lawrence Fan, and happy Veterans Day to one and all. And of course, Veterans Day is really about the people who have served, all people who have served, those that have gone to the heavenly realm, and also those who are alive. And based on the latest report, there are 19 million U.S. veterans worldwide. So we have a lot of company. And today I'm bringing on the individual by the name of Celesta Dunston-Powell. And she's a U.S. Army veteran, and she's also, of course, now a U.S. veteran, and she's going to share her story. I want to welcome her first, and then we'll get started. Celesta, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm doing great, Paul. Thank you for inviting me to speak on your show.
Okay, honored to have you. And again, thank you for your service. And of course, when we serve, our families also serve. So we want to give credit where credit is due with our family. They're worrying about us. We're gone and we're taking on this new journey. So let's get started, Celeste. And again, thank you so much. Now, when it came to that point or period in your life where you made this decision to join the Army, what was that experience like? Please talk about what that was like for you.
Yeah, well, I was 19 years old.
Okay.
And I went to community college for 1 year.
Uh-huh.
And I just felt like, it was something more outside of Henderson, North Carolina, where I grew up.
Uh-huh.
And so, to be honest, I joined to broaden my horizons. And I was walking downtown Henderson, North Carolina, where the old recruiting station used to be.
I remember.
And it was a sign swinging out there saying, "Uncle Sam wants you."
Yeah.
And so I walked up into the recruiting command, and all the recruiters, it's like they heard the footsteps. They all came out and greeted me. And and so I spoke with the Army recruiter, and because he looked like me, and we talked, and he talked about the benefits of joining the military. You get out to travel to see the world. They were offering the GI Bill then and the GI Home Loan, which was very attractive to me. And so, I bought into that. And I've taken advantage of both those benefits.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I want everyone to know who is viewing right now, listen later on the archive, that Celesta and I attended the same high school.
Yes,
Vance
we
Senior
did.
High. And even though today the name has changed, it's still Vance Senior High.
Yes, it had. Yes.
And so, it's great to talk to a classmate and alumni of our high school. Now, I know when it comes to making that important decision, which you made at the age of 19, what was it like when you talked to your mom about it, your family about the fact that you were going to join the Army? What was that experience like?
Okay, that's kind of funny, but because I joined the military to get away from home. I mean, let's be honest, and I didn't tell my mom. Actually, when I told my sister Marilyn, she joined the Marines. I joined the Army. We actually were on the same bus. They dropped me off at Fort Jackson, and she rode on down a little further and dropped her off at Paris Island.
Right.
And I didn't tell my mom until the week that I was leaving.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah. And so, she wasn't too happy. She cried and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And, but we're good. We were good after that, And I joined in November of 1976, and I got to come home for Christmas. And, during that time, that's when she revealed to me, she said, I wanted to join the military too.
Oh, wow.
And she said, but it was not acceptable in the 1950s, and her family was against it. But thank goodness the times have changed.
Yeah. And I think that's so interesting because it's something that she had considered. Had she talked to you about that before?
Never.
Wow.
Not until that time.
That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I it's that fact that the mothers, they're losing their babies, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're
I was the oldest, and I don't think she was ready for me to leave right then, but I had younger brothers and sisters. I was ready to leave them.
Oh yeah, I understand. I understand. And the interesting thing about Henderson, if there were more opportunities, the likelihood is a lot of us would not have left. And so we were looking for opportunities, for our life, our career, starting out, what we want to do, our passion, what we want to do. But the Army and the Air Force and other services is a great way to learn different things, meet new people.
Absolutely.
So now we've transitioned from mom, and she's shared that experience with you. Now, what about your basic training experience? What was that like? Because that's always so unique for everyone.
That was an eye opener, let me tell you. I was not prepared, from the very beginning. You come in, and before you get a name, you get a number.
Exactly.
And I think I was number 49. And the indoctrination is that everyone is trained to function together.
Right.
And it's a group dynamic concerning leadership too. And if one person fell short, you all fell short. And so in that, it teaches you to help your fellow soldier or the person so you both can succeed. And so we learned a lot about basic combat training, how to handle a weapon, how to shoot it, and the combat maneuvers. And it was during that time that it really, really sank into me the seriousness of the oath that I took.
Oh, yeah.
I went to the recruiting station, you sign your name, hold your hand up. And you really don't think about the seriousness of signing to defend the country and our country and the Constitution. But it was at that time that I realized that, at a moment's notice, based on orders, that you could go anywhere, that you get orders to and to make the sacrifice to support your nation.
Yeah.
And it was, I think I went in at 19, and I think that was an average age for a lot of young people at that time, because most of the people I was talking to during that time, we were all about the same age, 18, 19. And my basic training was in Fort Jackson, Columbia, South Carolina.
It's hot down there.
Yeah, but I went in November, so it
was better. Yeah, much better.
And my basic training unit was Alpha 18-5. And we were near Smoke Bomb Hill. And after my duty station, my AIT, which is your training, was also at Fort Jackson.
Oh, okay.
And so I trained to be
you had a longer extension of time past basic training. You remained there for additional training.
Yes, I did. And the training was for an admin specialist. I think back then, I think that a lot of the positions in the 70s when women were coming in were relegated to secretarial type jobs. But I'm so glad that, that is different for us as women serving now.
Absolutely.
That you can do other things other than cook or be a secretary.
Exactly.
Or work in supply. So my first duty station was Fort McClellan, Alabama. And I supported the 9th MP Battalion.
Okay.
And then after I got out, I served an additional 11 years with the Army National Guard.
Okay. Now in Alabama, what was the name of that post?
Fort McClellan, Alabama. It's now closed now. It's a wildlife reserve now.
Right. What was it? The major city it was close to?
Anniston, Alabama.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah, I know where that's at. Yeah.
I think it's the movie Aaron Brockovich. I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a lot of my training there at Maxwell Air Force Base. Yeah, right down there in Montgomery.
In Montgomery, yes, that was about 45 minutes to an hour away, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, what did you take away from that first duty assignment in regards to? Was it still what you thought it would be? When you initially joined, compared to when you were actually on duty.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed the tour actually, because it was my first time away from home, and I was glad to be away from home, and I made friends and everything, so it was, it was pretty good to me, I actually came down, I applied for another school, and I actually came down on orders when I was there. And from there, I was stationed at Fort Shafter, Hawaii.
Right.
So that was excellent.
I bet it was. Can't go wrong with Hawaii.
Can't go wrong with Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
And I really enjoyed my military tour.
I've been to Schaffner before.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
was
was
over there at
nice,
Hickam, over there near Hickam Air Force Base.
near Hickam Air Force Base. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been there a few times.
Yeah, that's very nice. Very nice. Well, we transitioned from the active duty, and then I believe you mentioned you went into the Army Guard for a while. Where
Yes,
was your Army Guard location?
the National Guard. My first duty station was 752nd Maintenance Battalion out of Butner.
Okay, got it.
And from there, I went I joined another unit, and that was the 139th RAOC, and I drilled at the National Guard Center in Raleigh.
Okay, got it. Okay, fantastic. Because I'm a North Carolina life member of North Carolina National Guard.
Oh,
I was on active duty because I was Title 10 through the Charlotte 145th unit at the airport there in Charlotte. Yeah, and so I'm a member of the North Carolina National Guard life members as well. Yeah, yeah.
So in both of those, I mean, I say, yeah, you train and you had to go out and do annual training in the woods sometimes. And actually, the second unit was like a rear battle battalion, and so they had all different fields that worked in the rear battle, and and now that was interesting, because we would go and have the annual trainings. And one of the things I did was I plotted the maps when they had different attacks or incidents, and I would like the military Vanna White. You plot the map, and then you write, put the incident down, and while the person is giving the briefing, you're pointing to the different locations and stuff like that.
Exactly.
It was very interesting.
Yeah, they need that information. Yeah,
absolutely.
They want to build history and to when the next event comes up, they'll kind of know what to look for and what not to look for. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wonderful. So let's talk now about being a U.S. veteran. What is that like for you today?
Being a veteran now, after getting off of active duty, and I obtained a skill set that I was able to go out into the working world to use. And believe it or not, a lot of employers, even no matter what field that you go in, they look at a veteran and saying, you had the discipline, to do a tour or several tours in the military. You get to be somewhere on time, get somewhere on time, got to work, complete tasks. And, they look at that as a plus in hiring you.
Exactly.
And they know that you're rules driven and you'll follow rules. I mean, that's the core of the military order and discipline. So I was able to parlay my skills going out into the work world as an administrative person. So I started doing work in administration in various capacities with different companies. And then my end job was going to work in the federal government.
Okay.
And so I started out supporting veterans with the Veterans Administration. And I worked, I started out at the VA hospital, and I worked as a timekeeper for the nurses.
Okay.
And then I went over to the Veterans Regional Office, and I worked as a claim assistant, handling veterans claims.
That's a lot of work right there.
A lot of work.
A lot of detail.
But it's rewarding work because that you're helping the veterans.
Exactly.
And
abilities, etc.
Absolutely. And, I went back to school during that time also. And once I graduated from school, I applied within the government for a business management training program, which I got with the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Okay.
And I went to work for them at that point as a HR specialist, administrative specialist. And from there, I got training on the finance side, acquisition side, just at the whole realm. So and got a little bit training on contracting and with HR. And so, and I did that till I retired. And I really did enjoy that because every day was something new. One thing about it, it constantly changes.
Definitely.
Change is imminent.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to what I did. I did a lot of the acquisition, contracting. I did financial management, cost analysis, all of that. Yeah, that's a great field too.
Yeah, it is a great field. And if anyone is like interested in just from my HR background, if you go on USA Jobs, you will look to see there's jobs and acquisitions, there's jobs in contracting, there's HR jobs, there's financial jobs. So those are the areas, if you're thinking about going to work in the government sector, that those would be the areas that you should be looking at, because there are plenty of jobs across the different agencies for those positions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what would you say, let's say to a high school senior now that's contemplating going into the military, what would you recommend to them in regards to consideration for it?
I would say consider what you want to do before you think about enlisting, about where your future career is going to be at. Do your homework, look at your interests to see if you can match up what you would like to do for the skills that you can take into the private sector or into the federal government. And prepare your questions for the recruiter and don't give in so easily to their suggestions. And I say that because they have a recruiting quota, and sometimes they may be a little persuasive in wanting you to take one of the fields that they're trying to fill, but that may not be what you want. And you should always advocate for what you want so that you know that you like what you're doing, you'll be more successful.
That's very true.
And so, but once you sign up now, you can't just get out like that.
My mind. You guys are right. I'll share a story with you that I had experience, and I had received my first initial orders. They were going to send me to Los Angeles Air Force Station. I figured I'd go to LA, I'd get into acting, right? A month later, I'm waking up, the phone is ringing, and they're calling me. And they're saying, hey, we changed your orders. You're now going to Dayton, Ohio. And I said, well, I'm not going to Dayton, Ohio. I'm going to Los Angeles. And they're like, no, you're going to Ohio. And they said, if you don't go to Ohio, you're going to jail. So I said, you know what? I'm really going to enjoy Ohio.
I was stationed. I went to postal school at Fort Ben Harrison, Indiana, which is close to Dayton, Ohio, because my friends that I was stationed with at Fort McClellan, she was from Dayton. And so I got to go home with her for the holidays when I was training, when I went there for training one year.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had family in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So I would go down
a lot of snow.
Yeah, a lot of snow. Gets really cold.
Very cold.
So yeah, that's awesome. And so what else would you like to share at this time, Celesta? That
I also want to share for the young people who think about going in is to take the practice ASVAB.
Yes.
And the ASVAB is the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery.
Yes.
So, you can take that practice test and see where your interests lie. And again, I would say, be persistent about what you want to do.
Let them know.
Because it's a volunteer army now. So,
yeah.
So, you can advocate for what you want.
Yeah, negotiate.
Negotiate, absolutely. Absolutely. And joining the military is a life-defining decision. So make sure it's your decision and not someone else's decision.
Exactly. And also what I've talked to some of the other veterans about earlier is that oftentimes when people see a movie and they assume that that's what the military is like, but the military is not like a movie at all.
No, it's not. We know everything. That's not real Hollywood anyway.
Exactly. But some people think it is. They say, I saw this movie, so this is what they do. I said, no, that's not what we do. So yeah, that works out great. But what I want to say to you, Celesta Dunston-Powell, is to thank you, first of all, for your service. Thank you for availing yourself today to share with the viewers and the listeners about what it's like to be in the military, what it's like to have served in the Army, and to be a veteran today. What you provided today is really priceless. It's really so valuable that it can help someone else's life. So I want to thank you for that on behalf of all the people who are listening and those who are viewing at this time. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and happy Veterans Day to you. And today is the day that we honor all veterans and those who are currently serving on active duty.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing even more about you in the future, because I know you have some really great stories about what happened when you're on duty.
Oh, yeah, I got plenty of stories.
All right. Well, everyone have a great time. And our honored guest again is a U.S. veteran, Celesta Dunston-Powell. We want to thank her for her service and for making a difference. And when she served previously, in the military, also in the Guard, and all of her service at that time still counts to this day, making a difference. And that's part of what this is all about today for this special Veterans Day broadcast. So thank you very much, Celesta, and thank everyone for listening. And on our next session, our interview, we're going to have Eldana Lewis Fernandez, and she's going to be talking about her experience in the U.S. Air Force. So Celesta, thank you so much, my friend, and everyone, I'll see you on the very next episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay.